Well, first of all, as you heard, my name is Karin Flyckt, and I work at the Swedish National Board of Health and Welfare, Socialstyrelsen, as a special advisor of disability. And just quick few words, the National Board of Health and Welfare is a national agency authority responsible for national guidelines, statistics, national statistics analysis, government grants, and regulations, etc., in the areas of healthcare, dental care, and social services, and special services for persons with disabilities. And I will present to you today, I will give a short and quick presentation about some very exciting news from Sweden. Just a couple of weeks ago, our government decided on the establishment of new national competence center regarding focusing on autism and intellectual disabilities, and extra focus on staff and managers in residential housing and group homes. And just, it might sound a bit provocative to some people, and I have so much respect for that when I'm talking about independent living in these group homes, but actually what we are talking about is small group homes, and like 5-6 persons in have their own apartments. It could be more, but they have their own apartments, their own key, rental contract, etc. Some of them also have separate apartments with access to staff and support 24/7, but they live independently in their own apartment, among etc. So far away from a group home. So we're talking about small collective living solutions, but still I can understand it's a bit difficult, and it is, of course. But what about this National Competence Center for Autism and Intellectual/Developmental Disabilities? Well, it will be established in 2025 at the National Board of Health and Welfare, where I live, and I don't live there, sorry, I work there. And I must say that I am a bit, on a personal level, I'm not proud, that's not the right word, but actually I was the one responsible. I led the investigation where, I was in charge for develop and bringing forward the proposal, every detail about this center. So I'm very happy that the government moved forward and decided to establish it. Anyway, the target groups, the primary target groups will be staff and managers in these housings and residential special housing and short stays away from home. Housing solutions, different kind of housing solutions. But that's not all of it. The secondary and definitely the largest target group will be staff and managers in other services, targeting persons with disabilities, and case managers, and also authorities, and etc., etc. So it will be, a more general target group as well. And we already have a lot of things going on in Sweden, promoting, and developing best, available knowledge and evidence-based practices, etc., etc. So this will be rather more like a complement to existing practices and services. And it's not, we will not start from zero, but this is definitely something we need. Anyway, but it is a complement, because there are a lot of things going on, both on a regional and a local level and national. But just so you know, get the picture, how many persons are we talking about? How many persons with disabilities are actually service users when it comes to these measures? Well, special housing for children or young persons with disabilities, 780 persons, 0.8 persons per 10,000. It's mainly children and young persons with disabilities that, like boarding school in other parts of the country, and when they need special services in the daily living, so to speak. But I'm not very proud of that. Everyone should be able to go to school and etc. at home. But anyway, we have that. It's an decreasing. The numbers are getting smaller by the year, thankfully. And then we have residential housing for adults, we're talking about 29,500 persons, 28.4 per 10,000 person inhabitants. It's a pretty large, large number of people. Group homes and, as I said, individual apartments, small, small sized, but still it's a lot of people. And of course, it can be very difficult, the independent living inclusion, but this is it, and this is what we have. And also, no one is forced to move to these housings, I should say, even though sometimes we might, need some more, solutions, etc. But we also have short-term stays away from home, 8,500 persons, and that is basically about, a chance for children with disabilities to get away from home, recreation, and personal development. And then the number of staff, we're talking about at least 20,000 persons, maybe more, maybe 30, 40,000. We really don't know, but there's a lot of them out there. The task and, the basis for this center will be to gather and disseminate existing knowledge, and if it's necessary, also develop new knowledge. To communicate existing evaluation and research results, for example, through seminars, and then also to conduct further training, primarily digitally training, e-training online, and also, operational hands-on dialogues like on ethical matters, etc., etc. Communication and collaboration. We must collaborate with a lot of different stakeholders, and also throughout the whole process, the communication, the collaboration with the NGOs has been very strong and important. That will continue. And the content on the activities will be based on our national recommendations on knowledge. And this is, you have a link here, you can look it up yourselves. But it, for example, include self-determination, supported decision-making, communication methods, and so it's so important, the UN Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So that's a few examples of the content. So why do we need it when we have so much going on? Well, self-determination and freedom of choice are crucial when promoting independent living and inclusion. So we need to, this is a constant struggle. The competence and knowledge of the staff is a prerequisite for good quality and self-determination. That is so, so crucial. That is why we will focus on this. But however, it's so important also, the competence varies among staff in group homes for persons with disabilities. For example, we have group homes with excellent competence and everything works perfectly. And the people living there are, very pleased with everything, but that's not the case everywhere. So we need to improve this. Overall, the competence needs to increase and improve. And also this is, the lack of competence and skills are also linked to coercions, restrictive measures, sometimes abuses, etc., etc. And, not allowed restrictions. And even though, abuse, etc., it's quite, unusual, the severe ones, but it's so important to address that, and we must have, zero tolerance with that. So this is one important focus for us to, eliminate any tendencies. And self-determination and supported decision-making for persons with disabilities really need to increase, as I said, and thereby promoting independent living and inclusion for persons living in residential housing group homes. So focusing on the skills and knowledge among, managers and staff will, in the end, lead to, will promote independent living and inclusion for the persons who are, living there. Final words. Well, a national center of competence is, of course, not the only solution. We have national regulations. We have actually, at this moment, we have an ongoing, we are updating our regulations on these, group homes and residential housings. Hopefully we will be a bit more, clear about what is allowed and not allowed. And also national supervision and monitoring is important, because there will always be situations that, things will happen, and we need to, be able to address that. And also supervision and guidance at the workplace in everyday life. That's why, inclusion and independent living are created in the daily life. So supervision and guidance is so important. But of course, competence about, recruitment. If you don't have the right staff, if you don't have access to staff at all, it's almost important impossible to promote independent living and inclusion. So that is also one critical thing to address. So this center will not. It's not a final solution, but we believe it is a really important step to forward to promote independent living and inclusion, and also, it's just support, give our support from a national level, and promoting. I would also like to say that promoting independent living and inclusion for persons with disabilities is an ongoing challenge. I think that regardless the type of support and service, even if you have personal assistance in your own home, it is a challenge because you are always depending on other people. And I heard a speech from a representative of European Disability Forum in Brussels last year, and just he talked about this, and I think it's so important that it will always be like a depending situation, and we must be aware of that, and it is an ongoing struggle and ongoing challenge. So I will. That's pretty much what I had to say. I had 10 minutes, and I hope I haven't. Yeah, I think I used that. But if you'd like to read further reading the proposal, this is a link to the proposal. Unfortunately, it is in Swedish. But if you want to, I can. Let me know. You have my email address here, and if you are interested to read more about it, I can send you. If you just send me an email, I will send you the Word version, which you can translate. And also, if you have any experiences of this, any thoughts, etc., just contact me. We will welcome every input. Thank you.